Okay, we're ready to get started with South Carolina. To my left, of course, is Coach Don Staley, Tiffany Mitchell, and Elena Coates. And Coach, just a brief opening statement, please.
I'd like to just say, Florida State really gave us a tough match. They were, there to the very end. They were opponents in which, we felt like matched up pretty well against us. And they took us to the wire. It's fortunately for us, we got players, like Tiffany Mitchell and Elena Coates that made plays for us down the stretch and got us this incredible win.
Okay, again, we'll go to questions for the student athletes first. Please designate the question as to who the question's to, and we'll open up right here in the front, right here.
For Tiffany and Elena, what was that moment like when the final buzzer sounded? What was going through your head?
Just full of excitement, pretty much. It's just great to finally take this program to a Final Four. It was really fun to be able to enjoy this moment with our team.
I couldn't really think. I was just running back trying to find somebody to pick up. It's just a lot of excitement, and I'm just really glad that we were able to come out with a win.
David Cloninger of the State. Tiffany, again, especially after yesterday, you kind of took over late. Was that something you felt you had to do? Did Dawn tell you to kind of take the ball and keep going at them?
I just think me and Coach Shelley kind of have like this nonverbal communication, and I just look at her and then she looks at me and I'm just like, all right, that's time. So that's kind of what happened. Just made plays for my team when I needed to.
Right here to the left.
Elena, you were named the most outstanding player of the Greensboro Regional. Do you feel like you're playing the best basketball of your college career, over the course of these past few weeks?
I feel like I'm playing better basketball. There's always room for improvement. I know during the regular season, it didn't turn out as great for me as I wanted it to, and I just wanted to be able to just do more for my team and, for myself coming into the postseason.
Right here in the front.
Tiffany, there were a couple of older players out on the floor, Courtney Newton and Markeisha Grant, and them. How much does it mean to you to see the players that kind of helped build this, be able to be here for this moment, and for you guys to kind of give that to them?
It means a lot, just being that they still support us, even though they've graduated years before. It just means a lot how they just come back and still, cheer us on, even though they graduated.
Tiffany, the big three-pointer with about a minute left, I think you all only made one to that point. Just with any hesitation that was the shot at that time? Or take us through it.
We just ran the same play pretty much 3 times in a row, and I knew the first 2 times I went to the basket, so they were kind of playing off of me, and I just had enough space, and I shot it.
4th row all the way to the left.
Tiffany, over here. Viv Bernstein, New York Times. You talked about finally making it. What do you think has tipped it to get you to the Final Four for the first time after last year not getting there? Is it experience? Is it new players? What's the difference?
I think it's a little bit of both. We have enough experience on this team, and just to mix in some of our youth, I think that helps us just because we're so deep. I think last year, we didn't have enough to get us over that Sweet 16 hump, and I think this year we're so much deeper. So that's what helped us in these past 2 games.
Front row in the middle.
For either of you, Brian Hand, Spurs and Feathers, when things weren't going your way, particularly, was there a moment where you kind of felt the momentum change in the Gamecocks' way?
I just knew we were always in the game. We played behind plenty of times, so we never doubted for a second that we were going to lose this game, and that's what mentality you need playing against such a great team in Florida State.
Avery Wilkes, Gamecock Central. For both of you, you've played in 2 straight down to the wire games. What is it about your team this year, that you're able to kind of stay poised and end up coming out on the winning end?
For me or for Elena? Both of us? Can you repeat the question?
2 straight close games. What is it about this year's team that you can come out on top?
Welcome to my world.
All right.
I mean, like I said, we just have enough. We knew we had enough. This whole tournament. I think our bench is a lot better than Florida State's in the show today.
Just to piggyback off of what Tiff said, yeah, we just we all just knew that once we hit the floor that we had to go out there and make an impact, and yeah.
4th row, Jenna, right over here, 4th row.
Matt Connolly, Fox, Carolina. Elena, you said the regular season maybe didn't go as well as you wanted it to. Just what's it mean for you personally to win this Most Outstanding Player?
It means a lot. Just knowing that my hard work is paid off, and just knowing that I was able to go out there and contribute to what my team was doing in a big way like that, it means a lot.
Judy Gadsden from WIS. Tiffany and Elena, wanted to hear from both of you about the fans. I mean, I think there were more fans here today than yesterday, and I don't know how much you can hear them on the court, and I know, they were loud in there today, but what did it mean to both of you individually?
It just means a lot, just knowing that our fans will travel and support us, anywhere we're at. They definitely created home court advantage for us. It just seemed like a regular home game. It was really loud. It was probably louder than Colonial, than it usually is at Colonial. So I think they played a huge part in us, coming on our comeback when we were losing, and us getting over that hump and finally taking the lead.
Just kind of piggybacking, our fans play a big role in what we do. We feed off of their energy. They pick us up when we're down. They keep us up when we're ahead. Just knowing that they support us no matter what, and they'll follow us pretty much anywhere, it's a great feeling, and we just go out there and do what we do for them.
For both of you, throughout this tournament, have you looked at some of the other teams that you could potentially play? Obviously, it'll be Notre Dame or Baylor on Sunday, but UConn's in the other bracket. Have you started to look at those as potential opponents?
If the games are on, we watch them, but we were too focused on, handling what we need to handle in Greensboro first.
And we pretty much just take it one day at a time. We look at our next opponent. We're not really looking too far ahead. Like today, we were focused on FSU, and now we're going to be focused on whoever wins out of Baylor and Notre Dame.
Ladies, what's it like when you're up on that ladder with a Final Four hat on, cutting down that net? Is that a surreal moment?
Oh yeah, it feels good. I just remember, last night watching Kentucky's men do it, and just thinking, that could be us tomorrow afternoon. So to actually, be in this moment and experience this means a lot.
And just with how the game went, and just having to fight and get down to the final buzzer and things like that. Just knowing that we had to fight really hard and we came up with the win, it just made it a really great feeling.
For either player or both, looking ahead, I know not so much who you're playing, but if you look back to your game against Connecticut, did you learn something in that sort of environment that's going to help you in Tampa? And how do you stay poised when you're the new guys on the block down there? All those other teams are going to have a whole lot more experience in this environment than you.
Tiffany, you want to take that first?
I think that's going to play into our advantage, being that we are, the new kids on the block in the Final Four. I think that puts more pressure on them. We're just going out there and, we're playing. So I think that puts more pressure on them since they've been there already. And I think we can just go out there with a level head and just compete.
Did the Connecticut game help you?
Yeah, I think the Connecticut game did help us just because we knew there was another level of basketball out there. And, I think we're starting to realize that, and we're playing a pretty good basketball right now.
Any more questions for the student athletes? Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, questions for Coach Staley?
Same question I opened up with them. What was going through your mind when that final buzzer sounded?
I wanted it over, you know, as quickly as possible. I just wanted to embrace our coaches because they've worked so hard. You know, this is something that we've wanted to do as a staff for a very long time, probably long before we got to South Carolina. And to be able to enjoy this moment with them is pretty special because they work hard. They put us in a position to achieve this type of success, and we wanted to just enjoy the moment.
Dawn, with that, 7 years ago, you win 10 games, and you just kind of start building at that 10-win season. Did you think that this would be possible? Did you still have this goal in mind?
The goal is always, in mind, whether or not we have the pieces in place to accomplish those goals are, a different story. I think with each year, you gain a little confidence because we play in the best conference in the country, and our conference prepares us for, games like this, where they go down to the wire, whether they're physical, whether, you're able to, maneuver and try to outfox, whatever our opponents will give us. But it's always been in mind. It's just we've got some pieces that will allow us to compete at this level and go into the Final Four and have a legitimate shot at winning.
Dawn, a few weeks ago, it seemed like Bianca was maybe struggling a little bit with her confidence and turnovers. Just how did she kind of overcome that and be able to have the kind of performance she did today in the biggest game of the year?
Well, Bianca is a competitor. Whether she is, flying around the court, whether she's having great games or not so great games, she's a competitor. And, you want in those situations, I felt like we would have an advantage with her on the floor. Just her quickness, her ability to put Florida State back on their heels. And, that's why we went with her pretty early. When in the second half, when it was, getting down to the wire, we felt like we wanted our experience down there. But she doesn't lack confidence at all, no matter, what situation she's in. And I think she's at a point where she's understanding the process a little bit better. She's aware of, her surroundings and what she needs to work on to improve. But still, even if she doesn't play a minute, if she plays 12 minutes, she's always going to be a threat on the floor.
You called Tiffany Mitchell, you guys, a superwoman on Friday, and then with the game tied 67-67, I think she scored you guys the next 7 points. Was there any doubt in your mind that she would be the player to really step up down the stretch for y'all?
Well, I had no doubt. We'll probably, since this is a monumental win for us, we'll probably rename that play. Because we ran it, a few times down the stretch. We ran it on Friday night. We'll rename that Mitch, in honor of her because she hit big buckets for us, and I had no doubt where the ball was going, even though Elena Coates was having, a pretty good second half. But Tiffany Mitchell is the person we want the ball in her hands when we need a basket.
So just out of curiosity, what was the name of that play beforehand?
We got more games to play.
Are you able to let this sink in? I mean, you've been through this as a player. I mean, is it at all relatable?
It's much different as a coach than a player, because as a coach, you reflect on all the former players. You reflect on all the the bad seasons. You reflect on the good season. You reflect on you know, what basketball really means to you. And, you know, for me, it's all I had. It's been my passion, my livelihood, and, you know, I think you know, as a coaching staff, we came to South Carolina because we felt like we can get here, you know, at South Carolina with the conference, with the, you know, just when we got to South Carolina, the players that were, you know, local, and with the coaching staff that, you know, that has coached or played at the very highest level. So it's, you know, it's a great moment because, you know, it is shared by so many people, you know, across, you know, so many teams. I think back to my, you know, coaching at Temple University. This is the dream that we sold them on. You know, come to Temple and you'll win a national championship. You know, now it's come to South Carolina, you know, you'll win a national championship. You'll go to Final Fours. And, you know, it just, you know, makes it all make sense. You know, you know, now we have some credibility, you know, to what we're saying and what we're selling, our program and our university.
Coach, I've already heard some people say that this was a statement game. What was the statement your team made tonight, and what factor were the fans when you were down and especially down the stretch?
Well, I mean, this game is always, you know, a really tough hurdle because it's coming down to the wire. You're playing against some of the country's best opponents, and, you know, you don't know a whole lot about them. You try to, you know, crunch up, you know, a whole season and 2 nights of work of getting a scouting report together. But it's, you know, it puts South Carolina on the map. You know, now I think, you know, the regular season that we had, the success that we've had in our conference. But when you hurdle over, you know, being, you know, a regional champion and going to the Final Four, it puts your name in history. So it's a history-making game for us. But, you know, and I've said this before, any national championship team, any champion in any sport, they have fans. They have people who come watch them play and cheer them on, and they find a way to create a home court advantage no matter where they are. And our fans have done that for us all season long. And it does my heart good to know that when you walk out there and all the chants you hear is Gamecocks, you know, and it's a beautiful thing. I couldn't write a better script for our season, for the community and how they embraced our basketball team, and it's a beautiful thing that I always cherish, especially just being in the state of South Carolina.
Coach, is there a step a team has to take from being a great team to being a champion team? And if so, is this team ready to take that step down in Tampa, or do you not know yet?
Well, I'll tell you this, we're not going to just show up and just be happy to be there. We are, you know, and this particular regional final game isn't the destination game for what we set out to do this season. So, you know, I think this was a statement game because we punched our ticket into the Final Four, and now it's time to, you know, maybe check off some things that we've wanted to do, which is win a national championship. So how we get over that is we show up on Sunday, I don't know if it's Sunday night or Sunday afternoon, ready to play whoever wins the Notre Dame and Baylor game.
What were your thoughts on your team's performance for about the first 15 minutes of the first half? And how were you guys able to overcome those early turnovers and miscues?
Well, you know, for us, I think, you know, we've taken opponents, you know, punch in the first 10 to 15 minutes of, you know, probably each game that we've played. You know, so it was no different. You know, I think sometimes, you know, our players, they want to make an impact. They want to make an impact so bad that, you know, sometimes it's not the right decision So, we just wanted our players poised and calm and not get ahead of the game. Just take each possession as it is and, try to figure out, what's the best shot to take out there, what's the best defensive assignment to execute. But I just thought we were, we were in a good place, even though we were down. It was familiar territory, so we didn't panic. We just had to, let the game settle in.
Speaking of stepping up in the moment, one of the players you went to when you needed buckets was Elena Coates, and she went on to win MOP, as you know. Just talk about her performance on the weekend.
She was fantastic. Elena, just it clicked for her. It clicked for her in postseason play, where I think she just realized how talented she is, and when she puts her mind to doing something, it works for her. I think there wasn't any doubt, that she could be the best player on the floor when she puts her mind to it, and she definitely was a, key component of us getting, to this point.
Avery Wilkes, Gamecock Central. Tiffany Mitchell played every minute, had 21 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. What's it like for you to watch her in that form?
It's become, pretty common. We're going to go to Tiffany Mitchell for as long as, she can run up and down the floor. She is, a well-conditioned athlete. She could probably play another game and have the same type of performance. So, it was really hard for us to take her off the floor for what she means to us on both sides of the ball. I mean, she defended like no other. She chased Conrad around, all night long, and then when it was time, when the game was on the line, we put on Romero, and I thought that was probably a great call, and I think Coach Boyer, thought that was a pretty good matchup down the stretch, and I think it was the difference maker.
We have time for one more question.
About 1 week ago, maybe a little bit longer ago than that, Elena Coates said she thought she simmered down a little bit her sophomore year compared to her freshman year. You think she's being a little harsh on herself with that statement?
Not at all. I think what we have to understand as freshmen, especially, being a student athlete, it is the biggest transition of your life. Socially, things change. Academically, things change. Athletically, things change. And, when you take her out of her normal environment, all these things are crashing together at once. And then, we're asking her to perform on a nightly basis, to help us win a national championship with all the other things that she has to deal with. It's hard. And things as you get older, as your sophomore year, things just start clearing up for you. Your junior year, you should have it. Your senior year, it should be, just putting on an old shoe, and you should be helping other people deal with that. So things are clearing up for, from a basketball standpoint, and you're seeing the benefits of her, seeing it a little bit differently.
Coach, thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
South Carolina locker room will be open for approximately